அடுத்து TCSI வரலாற்றில் முதல் முறையாக நம்ம இன்ட்ரடியூஸ் பண்ண போகிறோம் ஸ்டாண்டப் காமெடி.
We have for you our own Stanford resident professional comedian, Mr. Prasad Tunga.
He regularly performs in the NYC on the weekends and is here today to entertain us.
We make a kind request to audience, please no talking during this segment and give it up for the one and only Mr. Prasad Tunga.
Thank you. Thank you for that generous introduction, man. Happy Diwali, guys. Woo! How are you doing? Okay, how many of you are in the IT industry here? I want to see a show of hands. Okay, pretty much all of you, right? Okay, anyway, so when Abhita and asked me to come and perform, I said, comedy is hard. People should be drunk to enjoy comedy. And Diwali function is not exactly the place to do it. But I wanted to oblige and, I said, okay, let me try it out. Why not, right? So I want to tell you guys a little story of, me coming to America. So when I was coming to America, my dad pulled me to the side and he said that, we're all from middle class families, right? So he said that, Prasad, when you go to America, if you have any trouble, financial or otherwise, don't call me. So I'm like, thanks, Dad. That's a great advice, right? And so I came here in the 90s. And as you guys guessed it, I came here as a programmer. And now I am in IT management. So when I first came to this country, I landed in Louisiana. How many of you heard of Louisiana? Okay, a few hands, that's great. So, I had to go through a park to get to my university, to take my classes, a trailer park. So whenever I used to pass through the trailer park, people used to shout at me and say, go back to Mexico. I'm like, whoo, Cancun, right? All right, so a couple of things. Are you guys able to hear me? Is it too loud? Okay, all right. Yeah, so when I was coming from India, right, as a studious, it's okay now? Okay. As a student, and let me go back a little bit maybe. I'm just too close to that. Yeah, so I packed gongura, avakai, and all sorts of podis, right, that look exactly like drugs in plastic packets. So I was going through the security, and they stopped me, and the dogs are sniffing the bags and stuff. So the dog couldn't take the power of avakai, and the dog fainted. So the security guy came and said, open the bag. I said, okay, I opened the bag, and he looked at gongura, he smelled it, and he looked at avakai. He said, is this blood? I said, no, that's not blood. Why would I take blood? And he's like, what are you going to do with this? What's the purpose of it? He said, are you going to use it like a weapon? I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, what am I going to do? Mix it with rice and feed the pilots? And then when they faint, I'm going to hijack the plane? What do you think I'm going to do with the avakai, right? And then it was fine, and then I came here safely. And then recently I turned 50. Are there any 50-year-olds here? I know. Well, 5 years ago, actually, but it's not so recent. But so I went to my doctor, and he said that, it's time that you start exercising. I'm like, okay, sure. How often you want me to exercise? He said, you have to exercise religiously. I'm like, religiously? I'm not very religious. So he said, take your exercise as seriously as you take your religion. I said, okay, then I'll exercise on Ganesh Chaturthi, Diwali, and New Year's Day. Right? That's how far my religion goes. All right? And so one of the things that I did as I came here was as a programmer. Then I moved into IT management. Right? As you guys know, in IT management, when you're looking for people, mostly you get Indian resumes and Chinese resumes, right? And the longer the name, the more technical it sounds when you're looking at the resume. So you all know South Indians are much smarter than North Indians, right? So we have long names, right? So I was going through these resumes, like small names with North Indians like Akshit, Dikshit. I'm like, forget about this, right? Then I see Selva Muthukumara Chidambaranathan. I'm like, oh, this guy. How many people are applying for this job, right? And then I called my boss and say, boss, I think we found the guy. He's like, is he qualified? Yes, he has 13 syllables in his name. He must know something about technology, right? Oh, man. So, I made a few new jokes for you guys today, which required me to just check it up. And how am I doing on time, guys? Let me know. Okay, great. So, as you guys watch TV, most of the medicines are recommended by 9 out of 10 doctors, right? I'm like, who's this 10th doctor who never recommends anything, right? So I thought he must be an Indian guy who's into holistic medication, homeopathy, and he has like a big jar of Vicks Vapor Rub, right? As you're growing up, most of you, my mom used to use Vicks Vapor Rub for everything, right? Cold, Vicks. Is it back? Do I need to turn this back on? Okay, good, good. So I understand using Vicks Vapor Rub if you have cold, but the thing is the damn Vicks Vapor Rub used to clog your nose. She used to put a spoonful of Vicks Vapor Rub on the nose, and I can't breathe, right? And then I have a pain, and then she says, okay, let's rub Vicks Vapor Rub on your back, on the front, everywhere. Once actually I said, Mom, I can't sleep. I'm having, I don't know, I'm getting bad dreams. She said, come here. And then she took a spoonful of Vicks Vapor Rub, put it on my eyes. I said, this is burning, Mom, this is burning. What do I do? She said, I can't open my eyes, Mom, I can't open my eyes. And she said, okay, now you can sleep. It's crazy, man. The medicines are like that. And most of you are in IT industry, right? And one of the most pretentious emails that you get is the out of office email, right? Every out of office email says that I am going on vacation, okay? I don't have access to email. Like, where the hell are you going that you don't have email? Nowadays, Jeff Bezos is calling you video call from outer space, okay? Where are you going that you don't have email? And then it says, my responses may be delayed. Like, you never respond to my emails anyway. What do you mean delayed? Like, and then, in case of emergency, call my boss, right? Email my boss. And like, you are the project manager. You are creating all the emergencies. When you are out, there is no emergency, right? That's the most pretentious thing, man. Last one, I'll leave you guys with this one. There's a couple of misconceptions about Indians, right? So whenever you run into the white people, they always ask you like, oh, was your marriage arranged marriage? Like, I think they think of arranged marriages as you drag somebody onto the stage, put them there and say, okay, marry him. It's not like that. I think I want to clear it up, right? There's always a choice. We basically filter out all the candidates by creed, by caste, by financial status, by educational status, and then we have a small sample size, Rajesh or Ramesh. Pick one, right? And the other misconception is basically that everybody thinks that every white guy thinks that all Indians force their children to be doctors and engineers. That's not true. There's always a choice. Neurosurgeon, heart surgeon, dermatologist. If you're not so good, maybe a pharmacist, right? If you don't know how to write prescription, at least learn how to fill one, because there's money in there. All right, guys, last joke, I promise. Is somebody saying, waving my hand? Okay. Last one. So my dad was visiting me about a few years ago, right? And whenever people from that generation come and talk to you, they always say that, their life is so much more harder than your life. I'm like, I caught him one day. Dad, okay, tell me, why is your life so much harder than mine? He said, I used to swim 2 kilometers in the frozen river to get to school on the other side of the river. I'm like, Dad, come on, that sounds so made up. Frozen river, that means you are swimming underwater, right? And he's like, yeah, then weren't your books all getting wet? Like, how are you swimming underwater to go to school? He's like, what books? I had stone tablets, 5 kilograms. I'm like, okay, I'll buy that for a second. What about your friends, right? My friends are also swimming with me. Like, oh, really? Okay. So you're swimming, your friends are swimming, you're all wet. And then wouldn't the teacher on the other side of the river would be mad, right? You're all late to school. The teacher was also swimming with us. What? You're swimming, your friends are swimming, your teacher is swimming. Why the hell did you build the school on the other side of the river? Why didn't you build it on this side of the river? Who's planning these towns? That's my time, guys. Thank you.
That's an amazing performance, Prasad. You have such an unique style of delivering your jokes. Thank you so much for coming here. Let's give a big round of applause to Mr. Prasad.